What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for another Top 10 Countdown. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite bands of all time, the Rockers, Queens of the Stone Age. One of the most popular bands of the 21st century, one of the most acclaimed, and rightfully so. These guys have put out some of the best records of the 2000s. And of course their debut came out in '98, all the way up to Like Clockwork in 2013, and a new studio album just around the corner. So to continue building hype for that, I am putting out my top 10 Queens of the Stone Age songs. Now if you missed my last top 10, which is where I talked about my favorite bands of all time, Queens of the Stone Age are on there. What are you doing? Don't miss out on that. Click the link in the description or else there's an annotation at the end of this video. Thank you guys for voting over on Patreon, helping me decide which top 10 that you guys wanted to see the most. Queens of the Stone Age won the vote, so here we are. Let's talk about my favorite songs from this stoner rock, desert rock band, why they work so well, and why they're one of my favorite bands with some of my favorite albums. Leave a like on the video, let me know what other top 10s you'd like to see, and here we go. Let's start the countdown. A dark necessity of the mind, an oddity, but a sight to behold. Tangled Up in Plaid hits you with a sly mindfuck of a groove, building an atmosphere with its twisted guitar structure and incredible vocal cadence from Hami. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, Queens hits you with an afterburner of a chorus that rattles your perception of the song, jolting about with its electrifying riffs and oddly earwormy chorus before finally giving way to one of my favorite guitar solos on Lullabies to Paralyze. Before I was able to purchase the full album, this was actually one of the songs that I managed to find online alongside Little Sister and Burn the Witch. Something about this one really just gripped me though, because it's so satisfying every time you listen. It's just like a total collapse right at the end of the track as that final guitar note just hits and then abruptly shuts off.
It's late enough to go driving. Let's see what's mine. Life's a story of dying. How to do it right.
Let's go for a drive through the desert, this time with Josh Homme in the backseat and Mark Lanegan at the wheel. The whole concept of Songs for the Deaf is simply fascinating. I love the fact that they are driving quite literally through the desert on their way from California to Joshua Tree, and you see the radio stations kind of changing, losing signal, and fading into something else. Now, this was the final album that really heavily involved Mark Lanegan on vocals, some of the instrumentation as well, but he definitely leaves an impression on the listener here, as many consider this to be one of their best songs of all time. Something about the way that the vocals intertwine with the sludgy riffage, it's really just a perfect storm, from acceleration to the point of reckless driving. It may seem like just a bunch of chaos, especially once we break down to just thrashing guitars and drums, but rest assured that the chaos was very much calculated by some of the smartest dudes in modern rock. If you didn't see my review of Rated R, then you missed me geeking out over moments like this, and just how connected many of the dark guitar patterns truly are, weaving together the lining of this record, which is, at its core, quite the drug-induced daydream. Josh Homme has mentioned several times that I Think I Lost My Headache is one of the best songs that he has ever written, and I can totally see why he says that. The guitar hits like a steamroller here, slowly heating up and rolling slowly towards the destruction in front of it. The Rockers here are no stranger to these long, noisy outros, and I love that about them, but here they truly test the limits of just what someone can handle and tolerate sonically. They pump out a brutally loud and almost obnoxious ending that, well, might actually leave you with a headache. It's all about the build-up getting to that point though. Don't skip it just because you're afraid of some distortion. Homme's slow dive into insanity is really quite appealing in terms of how the vocals, guitars, and oddly striking backing vocals really just work together to make a fantastic song. Plus, do not sleep on the keyboards on this track. One of my favorite elements. The flames shoot straight to the sky on this scorcher from Lullabies, rattling the bones of anyone listening and forcing them to, at the very least, at least tap along a foot or even air guitar as they really just unleash a wave of fury. If you aren't super familiar with this band and you haven't really caught the drift from the first few songs that I've described on my list here today, Queens of the Stone Age do a fantastic job of the whole cat and mouse dynamic, slowly circling and stalking their prey by quietly opening songs before abruptly striking whenever the listener least expects an outburst. Everybody Knows is probably one of the best examples that I can think of that tendency, playing off of a slow, almost ambient guitar in the intro, waning vocals before crushing you with that lightning fast guitar, and Hami singing the title of the song, Everybody Knows That You're Insane. While I wouldn't describe myself as a massive fan of their self-titled debut like so many Queens fans really would, in fact a lot of people seem to think that it's their best album, obviously it's personal opinion through and through, but it's really hard and impossible to deny how incredible Mexicola is. The chorus really flexes their strengths of playing tightly as a band, especially in a live setting, in addition to being impossible to forget with its rattling percussion and steady cutting bass and guitar. As we'll see on another song further up this list, these guys really get into a zone and they do not lose focus. Hell, they can make an extended instrumental break seem like the most important part of the song. Mexicola is about being locked up in a prison in Mexico, and it does a damn great job of making you feel the heat, pulling you into that dark world. I mean, before I even knew what the song was about, I just had this vision in my head of them playing in front of a volcano or something, and it just erupting in the background, and while I obviously know the meaning of the song now, that would still be incredibly badass. For the longest time, Little Sister was my favorite song by Queens, but that's definitely changed as I spent more time diving into their albums, listening a little bit more closely, and finding songs that just ranked a little bit higher. But honestly, I still fucking love everything about this song. It was on the first mix CD I ever had. Of course, I'm always gonna owe so much to tracks like this. It's quick and to the point, weird, but charming in a very strange way. The cowbell is just fantastic, and the laser-like guitar riffs, especially during the solo, just put your mind in a trance, tracking every single note as the excellent backing vocals hover in the background. Anytime a modern artist announces a collaboration with Sir Elton John, there are definitely grounds for getting excited. I mean, Fall Out Boy, Queens of the Stone Age, a rumored Killers collaboration. Sir, you are killing the features game lately. Bold Pianos move and progress Fairweather Friends, which is easily my favorite Queen song from a lyrical perspective as a whole, just because of its clear-cut message. Hami isn't afraid to rattle off his grievances with people who are only seemingly there during the good times of life, really just prodding them as Van Leeuwen really cues up that signature desert-styled riff to make this song all the much stronger. It's really just a win at every single turn, and you can easily see why so many critics loved and praised this song, put it on year-end list alongside their excellent album Like Clockwork that this appears on. Bongos, smoldering guitars, and a sense of dread command this masterpiece, lifted straight from the genius of Joshua Homme. After the disbandment of his last band, Caius, I feel like he still had some ideas that were influenced by that sound, and obviously Nick Oliveri was in that band as well, and here we get the seamless blend of those two sounds. I feel like Better Living Through Chemistry is widely unknown by casual fans of this band, and definitely deserves a lot more praise and attention than it gets now. The first part of the song is a setup that ultimately serves as a ladder to get to part 2, which is The Meltdown. It's a blitz of rampaging guitars that wax and wane in such a calculated and smooth manner, it's almost like watching a mom keep her cool as a child throws a tantrum, and it's just fascinating to watch. Like Clockwork delves into a lot of personal themes for Homme, but Smooth Sailing is really where he just sets the ship on course, and he sees the sights ahead of him, no more distractions. There's a very groovy and dark aura about this one, spine-tingling blues-dipped riffs, and almost ambivalent emotion in the vocal tone, and an all-star performance from his supporting band. It's almost just showing off at this point because they run things so well, so tightly, and the ideas that they come up with and just tie into their music, it's really invigorating. The solo is hypnotic, and I've got a lot of love for that deadpan outro where I can vividly picture the singer just staring straight at the camera, delivering the line, "It's all smooth sailing from here on out. Shut up." There's not usually more than a handful of songs that you can genuinely say are life-changing, but for me, Go With The Flow is definitely one of those. From the first time that I ever heard that squealing guitar, I knew that I loved whatever it was that I was listening to. Fast forward to 2017, and this is one of my favorite songs of all time, no joke. It's one that gave me clarity whenever I felt like I had none, and whenever I started really paying attention to the lyrical content here, there was one in particular that struck me so much, it's something that I'm considering getting tattooed on my body. Now you're wondering, what is that? What's going to be your first tattoo? Well, I will put a screenshot up here on screen with what I'm thinking about for the artwork, and I want to possibly change the lyrics on it to say, I want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. Make the most out of life. Even whenever you feel like you have nothing, find something that you love, something that you can pour your heart and soul and give your all to. The band continued to recklessly drive through the California desert as a part of the theme for Songs of the Deaf, and this blends in perfectly. Whatever it is that's intoxicating him in this tale, it's making words of wisdom and honesty rain from his mouth, and it's an absolutely incredible moment that will continue to be one of the defining rock songs of this century. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my top 10 Queens of the Stone Age songs today. Keep in mind these are all just my personal picks. If you would like to see my honorable mentions, trust me, look at it. There's a ton of great songs in there. There were seriously so many that I just had to put in the honorable mentions because they couldn't make my list. It took forever to finalize this. I actually started it like 6 months ago, and I kept leaving it because I was like, I don't know what songs I'm gonna put on, which ones I'm gonna leave off. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Consider supporting on Patreon because these top 10s and the other ranked episode series that I'm doing, they're a lot of work. I really enjoyed doing them for you guys, but they definitely take time, and I really appreciate everybody who's contributed over there so far. There's a link to it in the description, or one in just a second whenever we cut to the outro card. Thanks for watching this top 10. Be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel because Fred's don't let friends go unsubscribed. If you'd like to find me on social media, all of these links can be found in the description down below. My other top 10 that I was talking about, my favorite bands, can be found right here, or another recent video from ARTV, click right here. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here for more videos on ARTV.